Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and this is
Jay.
Yeah, and we have some news updates for you guys from around the land of smiles for you today, this Thursday, November 21st. Now, today we will be talking about Thailand's tourism boom heading into the high season, fundraising efforts for a British man involved in a severe accident in Krabi. And a little later, we'll be discussing India's ongoing battle with toxic levels of pollution. But first, our main story, murder. Thailand's most prolific serial killer, at least one of them. The Thai woman who has been sentenced to death now for her cyanide murders. A Thai court sentenced Hazardous, 36 years old, to death for murdering a friend with cyanide, part of a series of alleged killings of 14 acquaintances since 2015. Hazardous, nicknamed Cyanide, reportedly poisoned her victims, stole valuables, and had a gambling addiction. Her friend, Sirapon, died after a trip with Hazardous in 2023, leading to her arrest. Investigators uncovered traces of cyanide and missing possessions. Hazardous pleaded not guilty, while her ex-husband and lawyer received jail terms for evidence tampering. This is as big as the news gets in Thailand, man. Like
Evidence tampering.
Well, yeah.
People never lie.
Apparently not. Well, she's saying it's pretty interesting that she's suspected in up to 14 murders, but they're just trying to get her on the one so that it's like more of a slam dunk case, and they do want to enforce the death penalty for her. Oh. So, yeah.
This has been going on for a while, but like all murder trials, people always expect it. You know, people don't realize that it takes sometimes years to actually convict the person.
Yeah. In this case, not that long, though, because like her arrest was in 2023, so this was last year. So this is a big high-profile case they're trying to expedite, I think.
This is one of those cases that people eventually make a Netflix series about in about 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? So that's why like there's been a lot of spotlight, and that's why it's been rushed.
Yeah, I think that's the case. When there's public pressure on a certain case, then that's going to expedite the process for sure. But we'll see. I don't know. There's still a lot of evidence that needs to be presented, and yeah, this is just what the prosecution is going after. Well, yeah, no, she's been sentenced. Yeah. So seems like that case is done, but I wonder if they're going to continue trying to prosecute her on other cases just to make sure there's no appeals and things like that.
All right. Our next story talks about petrol prices in Thailand rise amid global oil fluctuations. Ladies and gentlemen, bad news if you're planning to travel by car this holiday season. Starting November 21st at 5 a.m., petrol and gasohol prices in Thailand will rise by 30 satang per liter, with petrol reaching 44.24 baht per liter and gasohol 95 at 35.95 baht. Diesel prices remain stable, with diesel B7 at 32.94 baht per liter. The hike, driven by global oil market shifts and local policies, may raise transportation costs, potentially affecting goods and services prices. Commuters and businesses are urged to adjust budgets and consider alternatives like carpooling or public transport.
I walk to work. I don't
What
know.
better way to travel provinces than carpooling with your with a random stranger?
Road trip, baby. I don't know. You can make friends along the way.
But with a random stranger?
Yeah, well, look, you could end up murdered. You could end up having a really good time making a new relationship. But
Can I tell you one thing? Thailand is an extremely friendly country, and I've never tried this, but in Asia in general, I don't think carpooling is a thing.
Hitchhiking?
Could you
Something like
imagine you're on your way to Pattaya and you're on the highway and there's just a couple of people being like,
yeah, that's hitchhiking. Carpooling is like, you know,
hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Well, hitchhiking slash carpool. Carpooling is prearranged.
yeah, carpooling is like you know the person, like
Prearranged hitchhiking. Is that what it is?
I suppose. But yeah, it does kind of suck though, because the whole global instability is affecting us here in Thailand, and a lot of people are thinking, yeah, you know, it's such a weird thing around the world, like what kind of effect the Trump administration is actually going to have on global markets. And I think, like in Vietnam, I was seeing stories in Vietnam where people are out there like, yeah, like just because, I don't know, like they're really supportive, and I don't really understand what the support for is. Like, I mean, Trump is even pretty nebulous about it, but it's causing a bunch of like activity around the world too. So
Danny Fan just says, no, Jay, with no context. All right, Danny.
I agree.
I apologize.
Danny, I'm with you, my
I feel
friend.
like I stepped a line there.
Yeah.
He is mad at
No,
me.
Jay.
Oh, Danny boy.
I love that. Well, Anyways, on to our next story. So, do you want the good news or the bad news first on tourism in Thailand?
Want the bad news always.
I will give you the bad news first. Now, a Thai health minister has blocked 24-hour hotel alcohol sales.
How dare they?
Shame. Thai Health Minister Somsak rejected proposals for 24-hour alcohol sales in hotels and train stations due to safety and regulatory concerns. Alcohol sales on trains, including sleeper cars and dining areas, were denied pending further review. The Thai Hotels Association's proposal for round-the-clock hotel alcohol sales was also declined, though in-room minibar consumption may be permitted with new guidelines. Yeah, try and stop me from attacking the minibar. The minister emphasized stricter alcohol regulations, focusing on no sale zones, age limits, and sobriety campaigns under the Alcohol Control Act.
Strange. I understand why you wouldn't want people to get drunk on a moving train, but in a hotel room.
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this seems one of those things where it's like, hey, this is privacy in my own room. Like, let me do what I want.
I know.
And especially, like, the whole point is, like, you can still drink at those times. You just can't buy it at those times. So it's just kind of inconveniencing people, especially tourists who aren't really familiar with the rules here about, like, when and where you can actually buy alcohol.
Yeah.
But
come on, man. I mean, like, let's say you're in Thailand, you're having some fun. Come back late one night. You want the party to keep going. You've got a friend, or you're just hanging out with the boys, and you go to order alcohol, and you can't go to 7-Eleven because obviously after 11 you can't buy. After midnight you can't buy alcohol.
Yep.
And then the hotel that you're paying with.
Paying
for is also denying you.
You can have one of the two beers in your minibar, and then you've got a party apparently.
So they don't want people to party. I wonder what the reasoning is. I don't think it's good enough, but
safety
nevertheless.
concerns. That's what they say, and especially so many tourists coming from China. No limits in China, by the way.
Yeah.
But allegedly, you can always go and find a mom and pop shop.
Yes,
So,
love a good mom and pop shop.
Who doesn't?
They also sell alcohol on religious holidays. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Heard it from a friend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now here's the good news. You
Here
get
we
to tell
go.
them.
Moving on to our next story. Thailand tourism soars with 30 million visitors in 2024. Tourism is doing extremely well in Thailand as Thailand's tourism is thriving with over 30.5 million foreign visitors between January and mid-November, generating 1.43 trillion baht in revenue. Key markets include China and Malaysia, and of course, India. The Loy Krathong Festival spurred a 4.53% increase in short-haul arrivals from China, Japan, and South Korea. Those countries love a good traditional holiday. High season is expected to bring more European visitors, aided by expanded airline seat capacity and eased visa rules. With a target of 36.7 million tourists this year, Thailand is nearing its pre-pandemic peak of 40 million in 2019. Here we go, baby. Is tourism finally back? Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, love it. And, double-edged sword, right? Obviously, tons and tons of people coming in. That just means sort of avoid the touristy areas a little bit, but you got to be happy for all of the businesses that thrive on all of that money coming in to Thailand. So kudos to Thailand. One of the funny parts of that story is the expanded capacity of seats coming in from Europe, which I think means the smaller the seats on the airplanes. They're just trying to pack them in there as much as possible.
I think, look, apart from, with respect to all the people that were actually affected from the pandemic for health and business reasons, people have very short attention spans, and most people have just forgotten about COVID in general.
Yeah.
And they're just like traveling. It's like Traveling McGee over here.
Yeah. I mean, you got to move on, I guess, right? Like the whole world was ready to.
And so many businesses now offer work from home more than ever than before.
Yeah.
So people just work from anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you got the digital nomad visa that's become very popular over here as well as another option to bring people into the country. And of course, that means their money as well, too.
Yeah.
So Thailand is pulling out all the stops to increase the amount of people that are calling Thailand home. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mandalik asked, what will be the percentage of unaccounted tourism income? Who knows?
Who knows? I'm concerned. Danny Fan just said no, Jay, and then left.
Yeah, Danny.
I think he just rage quit. Danny, come back.
Danny, come back. You can blame it all on Jay, as it seems you have done already. Yeah. All right. Well, I got a weird trigger warning for this next story. You look, there's no cause for concern in the end. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert there, but also a little ick might be coming this way as well.
Uh-oh.
White spots on a Thai sausage have been explained. Now, a photo of a northern Thai sausage, Sai Ua, with mysterious white spots caused a stir on social media after a buyer questions its safety. Experts, including a former vendor, clarified that the spots are part of the natural casing used during stuffing and are harmless. Ugh. The lively discussion highlighted traditional food preparation quirks that may confuse unfamiliar consumers. Social media played a key role in educating and reassuring the public, emphasizing the importance of preserving culinary traditions and bridging gaps between modern and traditional practices.
I thought this story was heading into a whole different direction when you started it.
Well, here we are. I gotta say, it does give me one of the. It's giving me the ick a little bit to see
Spots
that.
on your sausage?
Spots on my sausage.
Been there, done that? Have you?
That's for Tiger Unfiltered later. Okay, let's save that conversation.
Danny's back! Hey, Danny boy.
You're just asking for.
I am. Danny, I'm a fan. All right.
Yeah.
I just want Danny to not hate me today.
I'm dying.
I'm Team Danny.
This is hilarious.
How do you say it? Danny fan?
Danny fan.
Danny
Indeed,
fan.
yeah. That's he's not a fan of you,
Not a fan of
apparently.
me.
Yeah.
Danny.
All right, Single by Car says, white spots on a Thai sausage. You might need to go to the doctor to get that checked out. Indeed. Apparently, it's all okay. Like, everybody's like, no, it's fine. It's a normal thing.
I don't know. I've never seen weird things like that. Maybe it is. Maybe it's like fermented sausage. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's quite normal in Thailand. Fermented sausage.
Sure. Apparently this is something to do with the casing. Like when it splits open, the fibrous material cooks up and ends up with that appearance. I would probably err on the side of safety, though, and miss that sausage.
Have you ever had a spotted dick?
I have, I think. I don't know. I've had a spotted dick, but too early in the morning for these jokes. I'm sorry. No, what is spotted dick again? Another way? What is it? It's like it's an impossibly British.
It's
dish,
a British
I think.
dish. I think it's just sausage, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Quick Google.
Quick Google of what is. I need to see a picture of this, and that's not what I expected to see.
That is not what it is. Traditional spotted. It looks like a,
like a cake,
muffin, like a
that, yeah.
sponge cake.
Lovely.
It's steamed pudding.
Oh, cool.
Don't know why it would be called spotted dick.
Oh,
but,
they love a bit of bands.
maybe a guy called Richard made it, and he had spots. Yeah.
Danny's still not happy.
Danny's going at me today.
Indeed. All right. Whoa.
Our last story from around Thailand today talks about a fundraiser that supports British teacher injured in a Thailand crash. A fundraising campaign has raised over £11,000 for Andy Davis, a 33-year-old British teacher injured in a severe crash in Krabi, Thailand. Davis, who lost a leg and suffered a shattered pelvis and torn bladder, faces medical costs exceeding £30,000 for treatment and transfer to Bangkok and the UK. Complications, including infections, have worsened his condition, potentially requiring further amputation. His parents have flown to Thailand as he struggles with consciousness and insurance arrangements. Known for his global teaching career, Davis has inspired many with worldwide donations reflecting his positive impact. Support continues via a GoFundMe campaign.
Tragic stuff. By the way, you can find that GoFundMe campaign, links to it on ASEAN Now and thetiger.com if you are feeling inspired to donate. But I mean, it can happen in an instant. And
can I also make another comment? I actually was reading about this story yesterday, and we posted it on obviously our platforms and social media as well. And a lot of people had mixed reactions to it, and I can understand. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. A lot of people were like, oh, look, another white guy trying to get donations who didn't have insurance. Guys, I think you should look into the entire story before you go around making such comments like this. In general, like when someone's down, don't kick them while they're down, especially if you don't know the whole story. Like, so there's enough hate out there, and there's enough negativity, and it's okay. You don't have to be positive, but be careful before you spread the negative comments.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you don't have to donate. Like, this is about, like, it's about the people that actually have a heart and care about this guy and the impact that he's had on their lives. Like, he's raised about a third of what he needs, and hopefully he can get to that finish line of what is covered or what is required to cover all of this. But, dude, I mean, come on, he lost a leg. Like, he's going to be affected by this for the rest of his life. Definitely don't kick him while he's down. That's for sure. So well said. Danny Fan says he looks like Zelensky, which I think I kind of agree. Like, that was an interesting comparison there, Danny. But yeah, like we said, check out the GoFundMe campaign if you are feeling charitable and want to help somebody who has had a positive impact on this community and other communities around the world. Anyways, we're on to our next section of the news. We're heading into the ASEAN section and beyond. So there are some stories coming from a little bit wider. But our first one involves two of the countries in ASEAN, and that is Indonesia and the Philippines, as Indonesia is set to repatriate a Filipino drug convict named Mary Jane Veloso. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced an agreement with Indonesia to repatriate Mary Jane Veloso, a Filipino sentenced to death for drug trafficking in 2010. Veloso, nearly executed in 2015 but granted a reprieve, will serve her sentence in the Philippines, avoiding the death penalty which the country abolished. Veloso claims she was unknowingly used as a drug courier, and her case has spurred public outcry in the Philippines. The repatriation, likely in December, hinges on legal agreements and the Philippines covering costs. Veloso's return will allow her to serve as a witness against human traffickers implicated in her case.
All right.
So this is pretty interesting because Indonesia has had Australian drug mules come in before where they have been sentenced to death, and they have followed through on that, even despite pleas from Australia to not to repatriate them, to just put them in jail for life. Indonesia's like, haha, push posh. So it is interesting to show the stronger diplomatic preference I sense towards a fellow ASEAN country in the Philippines, particularly with the public outcry coming from Filipinos. Interesting story. I think we'll see how it plays out.
We're talking about more people leaving countries. We're going to move on to Taiwan as it extradites golf champion in drug smuggling case. Taiwan detained a 30-year-old golf champion suspected of masterminding a marijuana smuggling operation from the U.S. involving drugs hidden in sofa parts. Customs officers uncovered over 51 kgs of marijuana in 2 shipments from San Francisco in October 2022, with a street value exceeding 100 million NT, which is $3 million US. The suspect, linked to the Bamboo Union crime gang, was extradited with the help of U.S. law enforcement and Interpol. 7 other suspects were arrested in Taiwan, and the case highlights international judicial cooperation. The suspect faces charges under Taiwan's Organized Crime and Narcotics Hazard Prevention Acts.
Yeah, like
more drugs, more people trying to smuggle it.
Well, this is a tough thing right now because, all right, so marijuana production has ramped up all over the world. And where there is, there's massive supply, there was already demand. So these countries, right, there's tons of shipping already going through these countries coming from Thailand, out of Thailand. There's plenty of exports. There's plenty of legal exports of marijuana as well to legal jurisdictions. But with all of the products and everything moving around, there's just too many opportunities, and plenty of people are going to take advantage of them. So yes, it is illegal, but this is like probably a drop in the bucket in the ocean of green that is sort of flooding the world right now. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how these cannabis policies play out, not just here in Southeast Asia, but around the world, particularly as more jurisdictions, the dominoes appear to be falling, and more jurisdictions are legalizing it. So curious to see how this plays out in the future. Well, anyways, speaking of alcohol problems, so we're heading over to Laos now, where some Australian tourists were hospitalized after alcohol poisoning. So 2 Australian tourists are receiving treatment in Thailand now for severe alcohol poisoning after consuming tainted drinks in Vang Vieng, Laos. The women fell ill following free shots, always suspect the free shots, of Lao vodka at the Nana Backpacker Hostel. And they were subsequently hospitalized in Bangkok and Udon Thani. Methanol contamination is suspected, a substance that can cause serious health issues or death. Reports of similar deaths underline the need for caution among travelers. Ooh, I'll have a beer Lao. I am not going to touch the Lao vodka now, man. But it's a big issue in my travels that I've seen plenty of times where It happened to me in China plenty of times. People were very nervous. You have to there were certain ways to tell. Are they using methanol to spike their alcohol to basically increase the strength of it, rather than actually giving you the proper booze? And you could very easily tell. Much more stringent, much nastier stuff.
Strangely, some people can handle that. Some people like that.
Yeah. Oof. Sorry, sailors, I think. I don't know. But, yeah, anyways, be careful, guys, particularly traveling in places where, it's a hostel, it's a backpacker place, it's cheap alcohol.
Yeah.
The cheaper the alcohol, the more risk you are taking with potentially poisoning yourself. So do be careful, I think, while you're out there, backpackers. Yeah. Anyways, Danny Fan asked, did I hear the C word? Which one? I think we've said a lot of them today.
Cool. All right. We're going to move on to our last story for today, which takes us to New Delhi, as New Delhi chokes as pollution hits hazardous levels. Now, big city, bad pollution. New Delhi's air pollution reached hazardous levels with particulate matter 50 times above WHO's safe limit, prompting authorities to shut schools, halt construction, and ban non-essential trucks. Toxic smog worsened by crop burning, emissions, and coal use engulfed the city, affecting visibility and health. Under GRAP4 restrictions, older diesel vehicles and outdoor activities are limited. Despite measures like anti-smog guns, residents face severe health risks, calling for lasting solutions to address the pollution crisis that kills over 1 million Indians annually.
Look at that footage, man. It's just insane. How do
that could be any city in the world. It's just full of smog.
Just full on
pollutant killing smog.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And the fact that it has such a death toll, man, that there's so many people that are affected by this, and it's going to be affecting the more vulnerable segments of the population, the young, the old, right? That kind of a thing. That's something that needs to be figured out.
And even if it's not affecting you today, it could have lasting effects for years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the cancer comes over time.
Yeah.
It's a patient game, the big C. And that's how you get it. And this was a concern for me when I lived in China. There were days where it looked like that for sure. And you got to mask up. You got to make sure you're wearing the pollution thing.
Anti-smog gun. What even is that?
That I was also curious about. I
just imagine
do some
a
research
leaf
on
blower,
that.
but it kind of, either blows it off or blows it away as you're walking. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure, that really sounds cool though. I give it.
guess.
It's like maybe a Ghostbusters thing. Sucks it in.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. But Elliot says agricultural burning really needs to be addressed. It's a problem here in Thailand as well. Slash and burn tactics. This is one of those things though. You have to figure out how to balance your economic development with the environmental concerns. Right. This is one of the things that the West gets criticized for all the time. It's like, oh, you guys were allowed to pollute as much as possible while you were developing, and now you've exported your manufacturing processes to other countries so that your air is clean, but now those other countries, which now rely on these processes, are just supposed to go green overnight or something like that. It's a little bit hypocritical. So, but at the same time, they're also the ones paying the price for it. I don't know. I don't know the answers, but I do know the problems. It's a lot of smog, that's for sure. Cool. Well, anyways,
all right,
wrap it up.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are some of the stories from across Thailand and ASEAN Now. You can find more stories on thetiger.com and joining the conversation at
ASEANnow.com,
Thailand's largest expat and foreign forum. For now, we're going to take a dive into the live section.
Yeah, check out the comments.